I thought it was just a nightmare, a shadow standing at the edge of my bed, watching, whispering my name. But when I woke up with bruises, I couldn't explain. I knew something followed me out of that dream, and now it's here, and it won't leave me alone. If you've ever had a dream that felt too real, like something was watching you, this story is for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because what happened to me might just happen to you too. It started on a Wednesday night. I remember that clearly, because I had gone to bed unusually early, exhausted from a long day that I can barely remember now. The dream didn't start like a normal dream. There were no floating images, no random scenes, just silence, a thick, heavy silence that wrapped around me like fog. I was standing in the middle of a forest, or at least I think it was a forest. Everything was grey, like the color had been drained from the world. The trees were thin, bone-like, reaching up into a sky that wasn't quite dark, but not light either. Just a dull, lifeless grey that made my skin crawl. No wind, no birds, not even the sound of my own footsteps. Just silence that pressed in on my ears like cotton. At first, I thought I was alone. I looked around, turning slowly in place, trying to make sense of where I was, but nothing looked familiar. That's when I felt it. That sinking, horrible feeling in my chest, like something was watching me. I didn't hear anything, but somehow I knew I wasn't alone. And when I turned back around, he was there. Or it was there. I don't know what to call him. He wasn't human, not really. Tall, impossibly tall, like his head scraped the sky. His body was just a mass of shifting black, like smoke trying to form a man, but never quite making it. I couldn't see a face, just emptiness, where a face should be. And then, he whispered. I don't know what he said. The words didn't make sense. It was like they weren't meant for human ears. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe, and just as he moved toward me, I woke up, gasping, drenched in sweat. But I told myself it was just a nightmare. Absolutely. Let's keep building that eerie tension. Here's the next section, written in the same first-person cinematic and conversational style, around 300 words. After that night, sleep became a gamble. Every time I closed my eyes, I wondered if I'd see him again. At first, I convinced myself it was just a one-off, a freak dream brought on by stress, or maybe something I ate. But then it happened again. Same place, same silence, same sky with no color. Only this time, he wasn't far off in the distance. He was closer, standing between two trees, unmoving, but watching me. Or at least, I felt watched. I couldn't see eyes, but I knew. Night after night, the dreams returned. Always the same forest, always him. Each time, the air got heavier, like it was thick with something I couldn't see. I tried running once, just turned and sprinted into the trees, but no matter how far I ran, I ended up back in the same clearing. And every time I turned around, he was closer. Never walking, never moving, but closer, like the dream bent around him. Even worse, I started waking up at the exact same time every night, 3:13 a.m. My heart pounding, body soaked in cold sweat. And each time, I remembered a little more. The sound of his whisper stuck with me during the day, like a tune I couldn't get out of my head, but it made my skin crawl. Then the lines started to blur. I'd be out during the day and swear I saw him, reflected in a bus window, at the end of a hallway, just a flicker, a shadow where it didn't belong. I told myself I was imagining things. I had to be. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. He wasn't just in my dreams anymore. He was getting closer. I remember the first mark. A bruise, deep purple, right on my forearm. It looked like a handprint, but too long, like the fingers stretched farther than they should. I stared at it in the bathroom mirror that morning, trying to convince myself I must have bumped into something. A bedpost maybe, but it didn't hurt. That was the weird part. It didn't feel like a bruise. It just was, like it had always been there. From that point on, little things started piling up. Lights would flicker when I walked into a room. My phone screen would glitch, showing static for a second before going back to normal. My alarm clock reset itself to 3:13 a.m. more than once. I stopped telling people, friends, family, how do you even explain that kind of thing without sounding insane? Hey, I'm being followed by a thing from my dreams, and I think it's marking me. One night, I was brushing my teeth when I noticed something in the mirror, just behind me, a tall black shape standing perfectly still in the corner of the room. I turned around, nothing. But when I looked back into the mirror, the corner behind me was darker than the rest of the room, like the light refused to touch it. I didn't sleep that night. Even during the day, I started feeling it. That pressure in my chest, like I couldn't take a full breath. Whispers would come through vents, radios, even white noise. Always too quiet to understand, but loud enough to unsettle me. The world felt off, like reality was starting to bend. And no matter where I went, I always felt like I was being watched. Because I was. I couldn't take it anymore. The dreams, the marks, the feeling that something was slowly creeping into my life from the other side of sleep. It was driving me insane. I started searching for answers the only way I knew how. Late-night internet rabbit holes, forums, old Reddit threads, strange blog posts. At first, it was just people talking about nightmares, sleep paralysis, demons, lucid dreaming. None of it felt exactly like what I was going through until I found this one post. The title hit me like a punch to the chest. He follows you through dreams. It was written by someone named Crowakes, and the more I read, the more I felt sick. They described the same forest, the same silence, the same tall shadow with no face. They even mentioned waking up at 3:13 a.m. over and over. But the post ended abruptly. No responses. Just this chilling last line. I think he's almost here. If I don't post again, don't go looking for him. That night, I started writing everything down, every detail from each dream. I'd wake up shaking, force myself to scribble down what I saw, even if it made no sense. Over time, I started to notice a pattern, a shape that kept repeating. In the forest, in the shadows, even in the arrangement of trees. Like a symbol, like he was leaving something for me, or warning me. I don't know. I even tried not sleeping for 2 days straight. Drank coffee, blasted music, anything to stay awake. But on the third night, my body gave out. I collapsed, and the second I hit the bed, I was back in that damn forest. And this time, he was waiting for me. I don't know how long I stood there, frozen, but when I saw him that time, something felt different. The air in the dream was thicker, heavier, like walking through water. The trees were bending toward me, creaking like they were alive, like they were watching too. He stood in the middle of the clearing, arms long, fingertips grazing the ground, and for the first time, he spoke. He said my name. It wasn't a whisper this time. It was low, broken, like a voice that had been buried underground for centuries and dragged itself out just to say it. Hearing my name come from him, it didn't feel like it belonged to me anymore. I couldn't move. My body wouldn't respond. Every part of me screamed to run, but my legs stayed locked in place. Then he raised his hand, and everything around me went black. When I woke up, I shot up in bed, heart hammering like it was trying to break through my ribs. But I wasn't alone. On the pillow next to me was something that hadn't been there before. A feather, charred, blackened at the tips like it had been pulled straight out of a fire. I don't own any pillows with feathers. I don't even know where it could have come from. But I recognized it. It had been in the dream. That's when I realized the rules had changed. This wasn't just some haunting in my head. He'd crossed over, or maybe I had. The dream and the real world were starting to bleed together. There wasn't a line anymore. Whatever this thing was, whatever it wanted, it had found a way through, and it was just getting started. After that night, nothing felt real anymore. Everything around me had this slight distortion, like I was looking at the world through a cracked mirror. I'd walk down the street and feel the ground pulse beneath my feet. Just once, like a heartbeat. Clocks would stop ticking when I looked at them, only to start again when I glanced away. I thought I was losing my mind, but deep down, I knew. It was him, pushing further, taking more. I'd start doing something simple, brushing my teeth, scrolling my phone, and then I'd blink. And suddenly, I was somewhere else, standing in the kitchen with no memory of getting there, sitting in the bathtub, fully dressed, with the water running. These blackouts started happening more and more, time slipping through my fingers. I'd look at the clock, and hours would be gone. Worse, people around me were starting to notice. Friends stopped calling. My boss asked if I was on something. Even strangers would give me these odd looks, like I was carrying some invisible weight they could feel, but not see. One day, I passed a kid on the sidewalk. He stopped walking, looked right at me, and whispered, "He's behind you." Then just walked away like nothing happened. Reflections started acting wrong too. I'd catch myself in the mirror, but the timing was off. My reflection would move after me. Sometimes it would just keep staring, even when I turned away. One night, I saw him standing behind me in the mirror, even though no one was there when I spun around. I didn't scream, I didn't run, I just stood there. Because for the first time, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't being haunted anymore. I was being inhabited. I hit a breaking point. Sleep wasn't rest anymore. It was a trap. Every time I drifted off, I felt him dragging me a little deeper into that place. And during the day, the world felt like it was unraveling thread by thread. I stopped going to work. I stopped answering messages. All I could think about was him, how to stop him, how to get my life back. Desperate, I reached out to someone, a woman I found on one of those old dream forums. Her profile was almost inactive, but she responded to me. We met at a rundown coffee shop, and she looked like she hadn't slept in years. She didn't even blink when I told her my story. Just nodded slowly and said, "He's marked you." I asked her what that meant, and she said something I'll never forget. Some things don't live in our world, but they want to, and they need an anchor, someone to bring them through. She told me there was a way to fight back, but only from inside the dream. I had to become aware while I was dreaming, lucid, and once I was conscious in that world, I'd have to confront him directly, face him, force him to reveal what he wanted. But she warned me, if you fail in there, you might not wake up again. That night, I prepared, covered every mirror, turned off every light, wrote protective symbols from her notes on the walls of my room, and then I laid down. I closed my eyes, and for the first time, I didn't fall asleep. I stepped into the dream, on purpose. It didn't feel like sleep, It felt like falling, straight down into nothing. No dreams, no sounds, no light. Just pressure, like my body was being squeezed out of existence. Then suddenly, I was standing, back in that forest. The same dead silence, the same crooked trees, but now the air felt different. It wasn't cold anymore, it was burning. The wind had returned, but it didn't carry leaves or dust. It carried whispers, thousands of them, hissing, overlapping, like insects crawling in my ears. He was waiting, right in the center of the clearing, arms outstretched like he'd been expecting me. But this time, I was aware. I knew I was dreaming. I could feel the weight of it. I could control it. Or at least, I thought I could. I tried to speak, but no words came out. I tried to move, but the ground pulled at my feet like mud. Then he moved, slow, impossibly slow, and the world bent around him. Trees leaned inward, shadows curled at his feet. He didn't speak this time. He showed me. Flashes of things, faces screaming, places I didn't recognize but somehow remembered. He showed me versions of myself, lost in different nightmares, stuck in loops, trapped. And I understood. I wasn't the first. I was just the newest. But I didn't run. With everything I had, I focused. I screamed. Not with my voice, but with my will. I imagined light, fire, anything to burn him away. And for a moment, just a second, he recoiled. The shadows peeled back. The forest trembled. I thought I'd won. I thought I'd pushed him out. And then, he smiled. No face, but I felt it, and everything went dark. I woke up on the floor, not in my bed, not even in my room. Just the floor. Cold, hard. My head was pounding, my hands were trembling, and the symbols I had drawn the night before were all gone. Faded. As if they'd been erased. Or maybe never there at all. I couldn't move right away. My whole body felt like it had been wrung out, like something had been pulled through me. I laid there for a long time, too afraid to open my eyes again, too afraid that I wasn't really awake. But I was. And that almost made it worse, because now the world didn't look quite the same. It was off in tiny ways. Streetlights flickered even when there was no wind. My shadow would stretch longer than it should when I walked. People, strangers, looked at me differently. Some avoided me completely. Others stared too long, like they knew something I didn't. I kept telling myself I had made it out, that I had fought him and survived. But then, things started happening again. The mark on my arm returned, darker this time. The number 313 showed up on my phone, even when I wasn't checking the time. And the dreams, well, they stopped. That should have been a relief, right? But it wasn't. It felt like silence after a scream. Too quiet. Wrong. He's not in my dreams anymore. Because now, he doesn't need them. He's here, somewhere in the corners, the in-between, watching, waiting. And I don't know if I escaped, or if I just brought him with me. If you made it this far, thank you for staying with me through this nightmare. I wish I could say this was just a story, but it's still happening. If you've seen him too, drop a comment. Maybe we're not alone. Subscribe for more before he comes back.